Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Sunday, March 3rd, 2024. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my college basketball Bank Shop best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab of pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Sunday in college hoops. First up, we see Northern Iowa and Southern Illinois. This one's going to be a 2 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. I gotta say, Northern Iowa's in really good form right now. They've won 2 straight games and 4 of its last 5. And, 2 of those wins were against Valpo, the weakest team in the conference, or one of the weakest teams in the conference. However, 2 of the wins were also against Drake and Bradley, 2 of the top 100 teams in KenPom and some of the best teams in the Missouri Valley this season. And while their success recently has been mostly at home, we saw Northern Iowa at the beginning of conference play earn some nice true road wins against teams like Murray State and Belmont. So an experienced team, it's in good form. I don't think they're going to be intimidated on the road in this spot, even though Southern Illinois, another solid team that's in good form. They've won 3 of the last 4 games. Yes, they lost the last game, but that was at Bradley. Like I said, one of the better teams in this conference. This should be a good game, but with Northern Iowa playing its best basketball this season, I like them in this spot. I think they match up well against Southern Illinois. I like the fact that they take care of the defensive glass and they take care of the basketball. 2 really important things that you got to be able to do if you're playing in these road atmospheres. Games can get away from you if you're giving up second chance looks and you're giving up the ball offensively. So I'm going to go Northern Iowa here. I think we're still getting a pretty good price because we saw Northern Iowa fail to cover last game. It was kind of a brutal bad beat if you were on the Panthers in that one. They were up 25 points against Valpo with 3:45 to go in that game, laying I think 15 points or 14 and a half points. And all of a sudden, Valpo came out of nowhere, garbage time, and scored a bunch of points late to cover the number. Still, it was a dominant showing from Northern Iowa, and I like them in this spot on the road. Next up, we see Maryland and Indiana. This one's going to be a 2 p.m. Eastern start time as well. It's going to be on CBS. We know Maryland already is one of the weaker shooting teams in this conference, but last game was particularly ugly for Maryland shooting-wise, as Northwestern's three-point defense is not very good, so Maryland was looking to exploit that. They took more threes than we're used to seeing from this team, but it didn't work out well. They only shot 9% from the perimeter, 2 of 22 in that ball game. And even a guy like Jameer Young, who is a 34% shooter on the season from the perimeter, he was 1 of 5 in that game. So it was an ugly game offensively for Maryland, no doubt about it, but I think they bounce back here. They still create really good looks offensively. They're a very strong offensive rebounding team. They get to the free throw line like nobody's business, and they're not actually that bad of a free throw shooting team, 72%. It helps that Jameer Young is one of the best free throw shooters in the country at 91%. But in this game, Indiana, Maryland, first of all, is playing with revenge. They lost to Indiana the first matchup of the season series. And Indiana is one of those teams that, similar to Iowa, I don't love them on the road. I will back them a few times at home. But, Indiana this season has not done much of anything in true road games. They only have 2 true road wins on the season. One of those is at Michigan, who is, we know as one of the biggest disappointments in college basketball this year. And that was, back on December 5th. So, to me, Indiana, I don't love this spot for them. Fundamentally, not a very good team. They're not a very good rebounding team. Like I said, Maryland, they can get those second chance looks. So even if the shots aren't falling at a great rate, they're going to get a lot of second chance points in this game, in my opinion. I'm going to go with Maryland in this one. I think we see them bounce back from that ugly game against Northwestern. Next up, we'll go back to the Missouri Valley Conference as we see Murray State and Indiana State. This one's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. I really like this Indiana State team. This team can shoot the ball. It's number 1 in the country in effective field goal percentage, 14th in three-point percentage, second in the nation in 2-point field goal percentage, and top 6 in free throw percentage. This team is outstanding shooting-wise. Defensively, it's improving from last year. Last year, not a very good defense. They were ranked 135th in adjusted defensive efficiency. This year, they cracked the top 100. I think they are very deserving of an NCAA tournament berth. However, I do think they are a bit overvalued, overpriced in this game. I think Murray State has been one of the more underrated teams in this conference. I think they're a lot better than their current record, an experienced team with a lot of talent on paper, and a team that we've actually seen play a little bit better as of late. I think Murray State does enough in this game to cover the number. I still think Indiana State wins the game, puts up a pretty crooked number offensively, but I do think that Murray State's offense can also compete. This is a team that takes care of the basketball. They create good looks offensively. Their shooting numbers are starting to improve. And on the defensive end, they're not going to be giving Indiana State too many second chances, which is, really important for a good shooting team like that. You don't want to give them second chance looks, as Murray State's a good defensive rebounding team. They're also going to keep Indiana State off the free throw line. Murray State's defense very disciplined. They don't take too many fouls. So To me, the first matchup of the season series was pretty competitive. It was a single-digit game, single-digit win for Indiana State. I think we see something similar in this one. I'm going to take the points here with the Racers on the road. Next up, we see Michigan and Ohio State. This one's going to be a 4 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on CBS. Michigan is just reeling right now. We've seen this team lose 6 straight games. And recently, in the last game against Rutgers, just not competitive at all. 82-52, even though it was Doug McDaniel's first road game in a long time, Michigan still had no answers in that ball game. And while I don't love to back or fade a team when it's down, because usually we're not getting a really good price against it, I have no choice here. These are two teams going in completely opposite directions, and this is still a rivalry game, one of the bigger rivalries in this conference. Michigan, I don't think it's going to be competitive here on the road. And Ohio State, after firing their head coach, Chris Holtmann, they have been playing their best ball this season, no doubt about it. We saw them beat Purdue outright, Michigan State outright, and even Nebraska last game. While Ohio State was a favorite in that one, it's still a very good Nebraska team, and Ohio State won that game for us and covered the number in the end by 9 points. So to me, Ohio State, the better team in much better form. Got to go with Ohio State in this one and lay the points. Next up, we see Bradley and Drake. This one's going to be 3:30 Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN2. And when you look at this matchup, you see that Drake played its last game in triple overtime. Needed triple overtime to beat Illinois-Chicago in a 107-105 thriller. And you look at the fact that Drake also beat Bradley the first matchup of the season series. So the Braves are playing with revenge in this game. You'd think maybe it's a good spot for Bradley, but for me, I like Drake. Drake, we've already seen in the first matchup of this season series, it was, Drake beating Bradley on the road by 7 points. And that was after a game where Drake needed overtime to beat Southern Illinois, 92-88. It was a letdown spot there, but it didn't matter. Drake handled business. This is an experienced team, really, really talented team. And then the revenge factor, we've taken plenty of teams this season playing with revenge, that's for sure. However, we've done that mostly with home teams playing with revenge. On the road, I don't think it matters as much. And I think Drake, like I said, home court advantage is super big for this team. They're fundamentally sound. They take care of the defensive glass. They're good. They take care of the basketball. And they're a great shooting team. They're a balanced offense. I think Bradley's defense, I have my concerns with this defense. It's right now ranked 74th in adjusted defensive efficiency, which is really solid, but not the best defensive rebounding team. They do take quite a few fouls, and their shot quality numbers aren't the best defensively. So I think Drake's just a better team here. We're getting a really good price with the Bulldogs because Bradley's on a 3-game win streak. They blew out Southern Illinois last time out, so you could say Bradley's certainly in better form right now, but I think Drake takes care of business and sweeps the season series in this final game of the regular season. And that's it. Those are the games for Sunday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.